Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a build for the Grandmaster Nightfall. So the purpose of today's build is pretty much to be able to go into LFG and pretty much always get that clear. No matter what the teammates are bringing, no matter what happens, we're always going to be able to secure that loot at the end. So with this build, we're going to have survivability, we're going to have crowd control, we're going to have ad clear, and we're also going to have tons of burst damage so we can kill those champions. Because at the end of the strike at the boss fight, that's usually where people end up dying to the champions when they're being chased around by the boss. So we definitely want to have a lot of burst damage to be able to take care of those things. So if you guys are hopping into LFG this weekend, then you definitely don't want to miss this. So let's get into it. So first, let's start off with the exotics, and for the weapon, we are going to be running the Wish Ender. Now this is going to be both our anti-barrier and also the weapon that we're going to be using the most throughout the strike. It is going to be very good at dealing with ads. It puts out a lot of damage per shot. It essentially uses one-shots, champions out of their barrier, and also pretty much kills every single ad in one shot. The only things that are not going to be able to be killed in one shot are pretty much like the bigger enemies. And overall, it's going to be a very solid weapon that gives us a lot of range to play with, meaning that we can really put a lot of distance between us and the enemy. Another great thing about this weapon is that since it's a primary, we don't really have to worry about ammo with this weapon. We can just fire it away, and we'll always have our anti-barrier ready. Now for the exotic piece of armor, I tried a bunch of different ones, including the new one, but I just can't get away from the getaway artist. This thing is just so good. The Arc Buddy works very well with the Stasis Turret this season especially, since it does more damage to frozen targets thanks to one of the mods. And the Stasis Turret itself is also used better because of all the Stasis mods as well. So we're still going to be running the getaway artist this Grandmaster, and it just works really well. The slows, the Arc Buddy, the Amplify for getting away from the boss at the end, all of those are going to be very useful things that are definitely going to help us. Now for your other weapons, I'm pretty much just going to recommend two different grenade launchers. Now for your special, you definitely want one with disorienting grenades and an auto-loading perk of some kind. It could be auto-loading holster, it could be reconstruction, but this is basically just going to be a grenade launcher that we can use fire and blind a bunch of things. And this is going to help us control the ads a little better. Whenever they're blinded, they can't fight back, and it's just much easier to deal with them. Now for your heavy grenade launcher, you're pretty much just looking for one with a damage buff, whether it's explosive light, bait and switch. As long as it has some kind of damage buff, it is going to be pretty good. I really like explosive light since as we're picking up orbs, whenever we need it, after we break a champion shield, when you switch to it and pretty much unload the entire magazine to the champion, and it usually dies. It's going to give us a lot of burst damage, and it's definitely something I want, especially for those champions in the boss room, where you just want to take them out as quickly as possible. That's where you definitely want your damage buff, whether it's bait and switch or explosive light. But it doesn't really have to be a specific grenade launcher or a specific like weapon damage, since all the grenade launchers are buff in this Grandmaster. Now for the super, we are going to be on the Nova Bomb. This is going to give us some more burst damage in case we don't really have enough grenade launcher ammo. We just don't have any grenade launcher at all. And it's going to be really good for dealing with the champions or with those Hive Guardians that are also very dangerous. So this is going to be for pretty much both of them. We just want to take them out as quickly as possible. And the Nova Bomb is going to give us a ton of damage. And whenever they're affected by stasis, they're going to take even more damage from the Nova Bomb. Now for your class ability, I'm going to recommend the Phoenix Dive. Especially at the boss fight, this is going to be really good. You can just quickly heal without having to stand anywhere. And you definitely don't want to be standing in one place for long in the boss fight. So Phoenix Dive is perfect, and it gives you just a bit of health. For our melees, we're going to be on the Arcane Needles. This is going to unravel targets, essentially allowing them to take a little bit extra damage as we do damage to them. And for the grenade, we're going to be on the Storm Grenade, just for our Arc Buddy pretty much, just for our exotic. Now for our aspects, we're going to have Bleak Watcher and also Feed the Void. Bleak Watcher is fantastic this season with all the stasis mods, and it makes the freezing and slowing that it does even better. And it's still one of the best tools for ad control. It's going to be dealing with enemies just much easier when everything is frozen. And our second aspect, Feed the Void, is going to give us Devour whenever we get an ability kill. Now Devour is going to add a bit more survivability. Whenever we get a kill, we heal, and we also get some grenade energy. And we're always going to proc this thing with either our Arcane Needles or the Arc Buddy. They're both going to have a pretty easy time proccing this thing, so we can get the Devour going. Now let's move to the fragments. Unlike any Grandmaster build, we're starting off with the faceted protection. This gives us more damage resistance, use for rings around it, and this always kind of helps in the Grandmasters since you can always take a bit more damage. After that, we're gonna have the Facet of Courage. Our Arc, Solar, and Void abilities will do increased damage to targets affected by the darkness debuffs. This is gonna be really nice since both our melee and our Bleak Watcher are gonna be applying darkness debuffs. So it's gonna make our Arc Buddy and also more importantly our Nova Bomb just do straight up more damage to those targets. So before you Nova Bomb a champion or Nova Bomb like a Hive Guardian, make sure that you hit them with a darkness debuff if you have one, so you can do some more damage. After that, we're gonna have the Facet of Sacrifice. Whenever we have an Arc, Void, or Solar buff, we're gonna gain some bonus Darkness Transcendence energy. This is just so we can pop Transcendence more often. After that, we're gonna have the Facet of Dawn, and this is just an easy way to get Radiant. Whenever we hit something with our melee, we're gonna get Radiant, and this is gonna give all our weapons more damage. So, just helping us essentially melt some of the bigger enemies faster by just hitting them with a melee. So if you shoot your melee, you get that increased damage. You also put a debuff on, like, let's say a champion, and they're gonna be taking more damage from our Void abilities, meaning that you're gonna be able to melt them pretty fast. And lastly, we have the Facet of Balance to get our abilities back faster. Whenever we get some kills with light damage, we're gonna get some melee energy, and whenever we get some kills with darkness damage, we're gonna get grenade energy. This just kinda helps with our uptime on our abilities, just so we can spam them more often. Now let's move on to the artifact, and first of all, you wanna have Brain Freeze. Whenever your stasis turret freezes something, it's basically just gonna slow more things around it. And you also want Cosmic Crystal. Whenever you apply a stasis debuff on a target, it's gonna take more damage from those Void abilities, meaning that our Nova is gonna do even more damage to them. You also want to have these three right here, Concussive Reload, so we can put the debuff with our Grenade Launcher, Debilitating Wave, just so we can do a bit of extra damage whenever we go for a finisher, and lastly Hail the Storm, for whenever we shatter a frozen target, it deals just more damage. And lastly, Total Carnage will give you some damage resistance after finishing a powerful combatant. The damage resistance you get from this is pretty good. It allows you to essentially survive being hit by the boss once whenever you're doing a finisher. I know, because I was in that situation specifically, finishing an enemy while the boss was smacking me with his big sword, and somehow I survived. Didn't expect that, but yeah, it can be pretty useful in certain situations. And lastly, let's take a look at the mods that we're running on this build. For the helmet, we're wearing Heavy Ammo Scout, Heavy Ammo Finder, and also Kinetic Siphon. Since we're going to be using our bow the most, this is pretty much the thing that's going to be making most of our orbs. For the gauntlets, we're going to have Momentum Transfer, and also Kinetic Loader. The bows benefit quite a lot from reload speed, so you definitely want to go Kinetic Loader. And then Fast Ball, just so we can throw our grenades a little farther away. I'm not sure if this really affects like our stasis turret, but we literally just couldn't put anything else. So that's why we have Fast Ball on. Now for the chest piece, we have our resistances. I recommend that you go at least with 2 arc resistances. These are going to be really good against the boss, against the champions, and also against all that deadly ammo that's going to be on the ground. For our boots, we're using the classic Orbs of Restoration, Absolution, Recuperation. Nothing really crazy here, just so we can get some health back from orbs, as well as getting all our abilities back. And lastly for the class item, we have Outreach, so we can get some melee energy back whenever we use a class ability. Proximity Ward, so we can get an overshield whenever we finish a powerful combatant. And lastly, Reaper, so we can make some more Orbs of Power after using a class ability. We're actually going to be spamming that class ability quite a lot, since we don't really have to stand in one place. So Reaper works pretty well with Defeated Dive. And with that, that's actually going to be the end of the build. You guys know everything that's in this build now. And like always, I'm going to leave a link in the description, as well as in the comments. Check the pinned comment if you guys want a dim link so you can try out this build and take it into the GM. Now the main things that you want to do with this build is that you definitely want to use your range first with your bow. Take out as many enemies from far as you can. And once you can do that, or you just have to get closer to the enemies for some reason, that's when you pop your turret, you get your arc buddy, start throwing out your blinding grenade launchers. You want to blind groups of enemies used as often as you can. That's why I kind of recommended that you went with like an auto-loading grenade launcher. Usually you can fire it out there, switch over to your bow, start killing things, and whenever it's reloaded again, pull it out again, fire it out there. Because that's the thing that you pretty much want to do over and over again. You always want to kind of blind the targets, or blind like groups of enemies, while your arc buddy, your turret, and you with the bow just kind of go off and pick them off. Now, against those bigger enemies like the champions and the Hive Guardians, you want to prioritize them every single time. Especially the Hive Guardians, you definitely want to take those guys out. They're just going to be very annoying if you leave them around, and very dangerous when they start just throwing shields all over the place. Now for the champions, again you want to hit them with the grenade launcher first to put the debuff on them, and then essentially you start shooting them with the bow till they pop their barrier. Once you pop their barrier, you switch over to your grenade launcher and just unload your whole heavy grenade launcher into them, and that should usually kill them. Now in the case they didn't die, don't try to reload the grenade launcher, just switch back to your bow and start hitting them with that again. And if you don't have any grenade launcher ammo, then you're gonna be doing the same thing, except that you do it with a Nova Bomb. You shoot your grenade launcher, hit them with the bow till you pop their shield, Nova Bomb them, maybe a couple more bow hits, and then that should kill them. The main thing is just taking out these guys fast, especially at the boss fight. You don't want the boss to like notice that you're trying to fight the champion and essentially go and mess you up while you're focused on the champion. Because I have seen that happen to many people in the boss fight. You just want to take them out as quickly as possible. Besides that, whenever you see some ads, activate your turret, pop your Transcendence. You're going to be getting both of those things back really quickly, so don't forget to spam them. Do not hold on to your abilities, you're going to get them back really fast, so just get them out there. Get them out there because they're really going to help. But anyways, with that, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, hopefully you guys give the build a try. If you guys do end up trying it, make sure you guys come back here and just let me know what you guys thought about it. But anyways, good luck with the GM this week, hopefully you guys get it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone, have a good rest of the day, peace.